Hey, this is Russell Brunson. I want to welcome you to Product Secrets today. I'm so excited for this. I'm going to be walking through 21 different ways to create a product. The biggest thing I get when people, when they start coming through any of our trainings, is they start understanding concepts like, okay, I need an irresistible offer, I need a website, I need a funnel, I need all these things. But a lot of times they get stuck on like, how do I create a product? And typically when you create a product, you're actually creating an offer, and inside an offer, usually there's a whole bunch of different type of products. And so it's like, how do you do that? And what are different ways you can do it really, really quickly? So I'm going to go over 21 different ways today that you can create a product really, really quickly. And it's not so much like this is the only 21 ways to do it. The goal of this is to get the wheels in your head spinning, to brainstorm ideas and hopefully open your mind so that as you are creating different products and offers and things like that, all of a sudden these ideas will start flowing into your mind, and it'll be like, oh, I could do this, or I could do this. And it'll just make it super easy for you to find tons and tons and tons of ideas. So that's kind of the goal and the game plan from this presentation today, which I am really, really excited for. So, and my guess is when you start seeing this stuff, you'll start realizing how I get most of my ideas for my offers. Like, I'm not really reinventing the wheel. I just keep coming back to the same 21 or so different ideas, and I'm pulling out different ways, different ideas, and different hooks, and different angles, and just doing them over and over and over and over and over and over again. So that's kind of what you're going to see today. So I'm excited. I'm calling this Product Secrets because it's how to create a product. But as you know, we're going to go deeper into product. We're going to go into actual offer because it's more than just a product. But a product is the first kind of the foundational piece. So with that said, I'm going to jump right into the presentation. Now, the first concept you guys need to understand, I'm actually quote myself on this one. I think I said it like 10 years ago, but I may have got it from somebody else. But I don't remember who, so I'm going to give myself credit. This is the concept, and pay close attention to this. People will spend more money for the exact same product packaged in a different way. Okay, let me say it again. People will spend more money for the exact same product packaged in a different way. Okay. Now this is true in all types of businesses. It's true in physical products, e-commerce, network marketing, info products, like in all aspects. Now I'm going to be talking a lot about information products throughout this presentation. The reason why is because the fastest way to turn a regular product, like a physical product, into an offer is by adding a whole bunch of information products to that, which then gets rid of, it does so many cool things. It just makes it so that price isn't the unique thing about your product. It's now all the things you bundle into this offer that make it a unique thing. So I'm going to talk a lot about information products, but just remember that these are things you bundle with anything you're selling. I don't care what type of product or business or service you're selling. These information product things are the fastest and easiest way to increase your offer, make it more sexy. So once again, people will spend more money for the exact same product packaged in a different way. Now, the first time I ever got this, when I first got in this business, I remember everybody used to tell me, like, you have to read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And some of you guys have read this book before, and I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. So I went to Amazon.com, I bought it, and the copy of this book cost me, I think, $9.97. Like, it was less than $10 for the book, plus Amazon Prime shipping. So like for under $10, I got this book. And I remember being all excited about reading it, put it on my bookshelf or the nightstand next to my bed, and I was like, okay, I'm going to read this book. And I set it there, and then it sat there, and I didn't read it. And I didn't read it for a week, and then a month, and then 2 months, and 3 months. I went to another event, and someone on stage was like, you have to read the book Think and Grow Rich. I was like, oh, I'm going to read it sitting at home next to my bedstand. Went home again, didn't read it. And 1 month turned into 2, turned into 6, 6 turned into a year. And eventually I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to read this book. I don't know why. But I wanted to understand the concepts from inside of it. So what I did is I ended up going to eBay, and I typed in Think and Grow Rich CDs, and I found somebody selling a CD course of Think and Grow Rich. And the CD course cost $97, okay? Basically $100. And I bought it. I got the CDs in the mail. It was 12 CDs. I put it in my car, and I was driving around town. I would listen to it, and within like a week and a half after getting this, I listened to the entire book Think and Grow Rich. Okay? Now I want to point out a couple things here. Is there any difference between the book Think and Grow Rich and the audio CDs Think and Grow Rich? Like, the answer is no, like literally nothing. In fact, it says here the original unabridged edition. So it's word for word the exact same content, okay? But I paid $97 for the audio CDs, and I spent $10 basically on the book. So I spent 10 times more money for the exact same product, the exact same content, packaged in a different way. Okay, so that's what you guys need to understand, because when you understand this, like, this will open up your mind to all the different ways you can create products, you can create offers, because the way that someone consumes something will change the value of what it is. Okay, not so much the content, but how somebody consumes it. Okay, so a book is worth $10, an audio CDs are worth $100. If I gave you a video home study course, it might be worth $300. If you came to an event here in Boise where I taught you how to think and grow rich, it might be worth $1,000 or $2,000. If I did a mastermind program going through this, it might be worth $10,000. Okay, so like, but it's the exact same content, it's just packaged in different ways, okay? And so how you consume that, how you fulfill on that changes the value of what it is you're selling, okay? So when I first got that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is huge. As soon as I understood that, if I can learn how to package things in different ways, I can charge more and everything else changes, okay? I mean, just think about, for example, I'll walk through my value ladder. If you look at my value ladder, right? On the front of my value ladder, there's this really cool book that I wrote called Expert Secrets, or my book that's .com Secrets, right? Like people buy one of the books and this is free plus shipping, okay? They buy the book. And then the upsell, I've got videos teaching stuff from the Expert Secret stuff that people pay for $300 for. And then when you go beyond that, then there's ClickFunnels that we sell for, anywhere from $97 a month to a couple $1,000s. And that is the training, the software tool that allows you to do the stuff we talk about inside of the books, right? And then behind that, then we've got our 2 Comma Club X coaching program, which is me going through the training. The first entire section of our 2 Comma Club X coaching program, our $18,000 a year program, is a Secrets Masterclass, which is literally videos going through all the content inside the book, right? And then we do coaching calls, teaching the stuff inside the book, okay? And my inner circle, we come here to Boise and we talk about the book. We come to Funnel Hacking Live, we talk about the concepts in the book and the practical application, but it's just the same stuff packaged in different ways over and over and over again, right? Because I don't know how someone's gonna get their aha. I don't know what it's gonna be. Some people, we sold 100,000 plus copies of this book so far, and my guess is maybe 10,000 people actually read it. Okay, the other ones, they got it, they got excited, but they didn't read it. So how it's going to give it to them that they're going to be more likely to actually consume it instead of doing what Russell did and having it on the shelf. Okay, maybe they need the audiobook, maybe they need an event, maybe they need to actually come to Funnel Hacking Live where I'm going to get them re-excited. I'm teaching parts of the principles here and so to actually go into the book. Like whatever it is that I can do to give people the tools and the ability to actually do it, that's how this business works, okay? So just remember that. People will spend more money for the exact same product packaged in different ways. Okay, that's number one. And so like that moves through here, through the value ladder, right? As you go through my value ladder, I'm not radically shifting everything, right? I'm just taking people through and I'm packaging things in different ways. Okay, funnel scripts is a great thing. Inside of the Expert Secrets book and the .com Secrets book, I gave people, here's all of my scripts for all my sales letters, my sales videos, my webinars. Like I give you all the scripts. So Funnel Scripts was a software program we created that took these scripts that are here inside this book and put them in a software program. You fill in the blanks, you click a button, and boom, it pops out the script customized for you. Okay, and we sell that for more, but it's the same stuff, right? You could go through and do the same thing by yourself by taking the book and just doing it, or you can use Funnel Scripts, fill out the blanks, and boom, it pops out the thing. Same content packaged in different ways. It's packaged as software, it's packaged as training, it's packaged as masterminds, it's packaged as events, it's packaged as live coaching calls. Like, hopefully you guys are getting this, okay? So that's how the value ladder, as I'm sending people up, I'm shifting not so much the content of what they're learning, okay? I'm shifting the how we fulfill on it, how they actually receive the value from the concepts, okay? So there's your value ladder. All right, so I wanna come back to this. I've talked about this a lot recently, but I wanna kind of re-stress it because it's the key to this whole product secrets concept. There's products and there's offers, okay? Now a product, the biggest problem with the product typically is that a product is a thing, right? And when you have the product, like let's say you go to Amazon and you search for whatever it is you're buying, right? A supplement, or you're searching for a flashlight, or you're searching for a new laptop, right? Or you're searching for a phone. I'm gonna do a phone for this example. So I'm gonna grab my phone right here, right? So here's my phone, and this is a product, right? Now, the thing about a product is that products are the same, right? So there's probably 1,000 people all selling iPhones, right? And so one person might sell it for, well, pretty much everybody sells it for the same price, right? Because it's worth whatever. I think they're like $500 now. So iPhones were $500. So it's a product. So when everybody's selling the exact same product, same price, the problem with that is that it becomes a commodity, and then it's a race to the bottom. Whoever's got the cheapest price is going to get the sale, right? And so I never want to be in a business where I'm going for the cheapest price. I've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. But I want to be someone who Dan Kennedy told me, he's like, there's no strategic advantage of being the second lowest price leader in town. So you can't be the lowest price leader, you want to be the most expensive, because there is a huge strategic advantage about being the most expensive. And some of you guys have heard me do this concept before, or this kind of demonstration. So if I want to take this phone, everyone else is selling for $500 online because it's a product. Now we're commoditizing, right? So if I shift this, instead of just selling this phone as a product, if I shift it and transition it to an offer, then I can sell it for a lot more. In fact, I could sell this phone to almost all of you guys right now for $10,000 or more, really, really easily, okay? So again, first we have the phone, which is a product, but if I turn it into an offer, I can sell for a lot more. So the way I would turn this into an offer is I would come back here, similar we talked about Expert Secrets, is I would go through and make an offer. So like the first thing you get is this phone. I'll send you this phone. It's a $500 value. But the second thing you're gonna get inside this phone is, and again, if it's my audience I'm selling it to, I'm gonna bundle it for them specifically, right? So for you guys, I'd say, okay, when you buy this iPhone from me, not only are you gonna get the phone, I'm also going to give you the next thing, right? The next component. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take 60 hours of training video showing people how to build funnels. I'm gonna preload that content on this thing so it's there. So you get the video training that's gonna be preloaded on this phone as well. The third thing you're gonna get, so you get the phone, you get the preloaded training. The third thing you're gonna get is an app that has a secret login to a membership site. Inside that membership site, you're gonna get access to the audiobooks of all my books. And then the fourth thing you're gonna get is Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie app, and I'm actually gonna pre-install my username and password. That way you can walkie-talkie and ask me any question you want whenever you want. And the fifth thing you're gonna get is whatever. And so like, now I preload this thing with a whole bunch of stuff, right? Now suddenly this phone goes from being worth $500 to being worth $5,000, okay? In fact, I had a friend a couple years ago who he messaged me one day. He's like, hey Russell, really quick, I know you're a geek about marketing stuff just like me. He's like, I have this laptop here and it's just a cheap laptop, but on it I have every single marketing course I've ever bought from the beginning of time till now, all preloaded on this thing. I'm getting a new laptop and I've been moving stuff. Wanted to see if you want to buy my old laptop from me. And like I said, I won't delete any of the courses. They're all on there. And he kind of went through, here's all the courses that are on here, like everything he'd ever bought from like the last 20 years. And he's like, if you want the laptop, let me know. It's $5,000. I think it was $5,000. Yeah, send me $5,000 and I'll send you this laptop. And I was like, holy cow. And that laptop was literally worth maybe $100 max. Like it was old, beat up. It was just this garbage thing. But he had all this product, all this course, all this stuff, all this thing in his offer. And so I sent him $5,000 instantly without even thinking twice. I wired him $5,000. He sent me a laptop, and I still have this laptop with all these old courses on there that I can study and I can learn from. Okay? Because he took it from a product to an actual offer. So the offer is all about like stacking things together. I'm not going to get too deep into that because if you read Expert Secrets, you know about this. Like we're creating offers, we're building stuff out, but that's why this is so important, because these 21 ways I'm talking about how to create different products. There's a whole bunch of them. And now you have a palette. You have a whole palette of different ways you can do it. And you create an offer. You're like, okay, I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to grab one of these. And now it's like you've got a really sexy offer. Okay. And so that's just why we're doing this exercise. Why I want you guys thinking through all these different ways is because you're going to need a whole bunch of them. I don't care what you're selling. If I'm selling a weight loss supplement, everybody else is selling the same weight loss supplement as me. So for me, I'm like, hey, how do I make this from a product to an offer? I'm like, okay, what I could do. Idea number 17, number 22, and number 15, number 40, all these different ones from these ideas I'm going to give you guys right now. You bundle it together, now you've got an offer, and now you're not fighting on price with everybody else because of the supplement. Now it's like, you can sell it for whatever you want because you got supplement, but wrapped in this offer, you got all these other things that make it way more valuable, okay? So that's kind of the core concept here I want you guys to understand. All right, product versus offer. All right, the next big piece, and this is the key, I want you to understand is, what is the hook of your offer? I cannot say this enough. I've said this in the last probably 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I've been talking a lot about offers and product and hooks. And I just want to re-stress this for those who maybe this is the first time watching this or whatever, but you have to have a good hook. Everything you do has a good hook. When you have a better hook, the thing sells better, right? Again, my buddy calling me and saying, hey, do you want this laptop? It's got 20 years of every marketing course known to man on it. The laptop's worth $100, but you give me $5,000, I'll ship it to you. Like that hook is like, dang, he didn't have to have a sales video or sales process. Like the hook was so good and the offer was so good, like I was in, okay? So when you have an offer and you have the right hook, it makes it really, really good. So you have to go and become good at developing hooks. So as I go through all these 21 ideas, you're gonna see how I've used these in the past as hooks, okay? So I'm using different hooks. A couple really quick examples before we move on. Just kind of explain to me. He's like, one really good hook. This is Drew Manning. He owns a company called Fit to Fat to Fit. And he was a personal trainer, teach people personal training, and he was making good money doing it, but he needed a better hook, right? He needed a hook that was going to bring this thing out to the masses. So he thought, what could I do? What kind of stunt could I pull? What kind of thing could I do to get people to notice this and care about it? Like, what's the hook I can create? Okay, he didn't have a hook by default. He wasn't someone who was fat in the past and he lost a bunch of weight, which is a good hook. So he needed his own hook. So he actually went out there and developed a hook. Okay, and this hook now has made him a multi-millionaire. So his hook was, I'm a personal trainer. I've never been fat before. I'm going to gain a whole bunch of weight, and then I'm going to try to lose it again. That way I can know what it feels like to be fat, and then I can know what it feels like to lose it, and I can now relate to people at different levels. So he went from being fit to fat to fit. Okay, and that hook was so good. In the middle of this process, he got into the Jay Leno show. Okay, and then from that now he's created a whole bunch of offers and products and services that are all tied back to that because the hook was so good in his story. okay? And then the offer is good as well. Hook and an offer. Like when you have those two things together, you can't not make money, okay? Another one, Natalie Hodson, right? Natalie was a fitness trainer. She was doing well. One day during one of her fitness videos, she actually pees her pants on stage, right? That's something that's very scary, very vulnerable, and most people would hide that, delete it, and like not tell anybody. But instead and again, I don't know if she consciously thought through this, but that's a good hook. Like, okay, this is gonna be a hook. So her hook was like, hey, I'm a mom, I've had kids. One thing happens after you have kids is sometimes it's harder to control down there. And I was doing this live video and I peed my pants live in front of all these people. And I wanted to figure out a way to do it. So I found a doctor who helped me go through these exercises to be able to solve this problem. And now I can bring this to you. Now that's a good hook. Like that's something that's like, it's a hook. It's, and the offer behind it then is good as well. But like it's the hook and the offer. Like that's the key, right? She could have said, hey, come out with a product like, hey guys, a lot of women have struggled with this, blah, 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 blah. So I created this product to help it, but there's no hook there. The hook was this story about what happened to her and how it happened, and like that's the part that made this such a runaway blockbuster hit, right? After she launched this, the hook was so solid, she went from $0 to $1 million, 2-column club funnel in about 4 months. Okay, because the hook was so good. Okay, for me, we launched ClickFunnels. Like, what was the hook? I could have easily said, "Let me teach you how to build your own 7-figure funnel." I could have just said, "Let me show you, 10 different, 7 secrets to blah blah blah." Like, no, I had like, what was the hook? And I spent tons of time trying to figure out the hook. And the hook that ended up coming out was my weird niche funnel. It's currently making me $17,947 per day, and how you can ethically knock it off in less than 10 minutes. That hook was like, wait, what? There's so much curiosity, like my weird niche funnel, like what's the funnel? I want to know what it is. Okay, it's making me $17,000 per day. Like, is that true? There's no way that could be possibly true. And then you can ethically knock it off. Like, how do you ethically knock something off in less than 10? Like, there's so much curiosity. The hook is like, dang, I need to register for that webinar. I need to show up for the webinar. Okay, and so that was a hook that I used to be able to get something through. So for me to find that hook, I had to go back through and like look at all my funnels, my offers, and find the story, find the unique thing that's hidden inside of there. Okay, a lot of times I had Alex D's, one of my inner circle members, and he's got a webinar doing really well, and he showed it to me. He's like, "What would you do different?" I was like, "You need a better hook for your headline. Like the headline's good, but like the better your hook is, the better it's going to be." And he's like, "What should my hook be?" I'm like, "I don't know. Go back through every one of your success stories, interview them all, find out what the hook is. It's there somewhere." The best copywriters in the world, they focus 90% of the time trying to figure out the hook. Okay, Todd Brown calls it the big idea, like whatever you want to call it, but it's that thing that wraps this entire offer together, right? When you have the right hook, everything else becomes really, 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 really simple, okay? If you don't have a hook yet, you need to create it. Okay, for example, some of you guys know I'm Mormon, and I wanted to create a Mormon podcast. Okay, I could have been like, hey, I'm Russell, I'm this LDS guy, and listen to my podcast. The problem is there's no hook on that, right? So I was like, how do I create a hook? And I wasn't consciously thinking through this at the time, but it kind of happened. And so how did I create a hook to do it? I was like, I need to do something different. So for me, when I launched this podcast, what I did is I went and when the Book of Mormon first came out, there were 5,000 copies printed originally, and they go sell on eBay for anywhere from 100,000 to $1 million. And so I actually went and I found one that was cheaper than that, and I bought one of the original copies. Okay, and now it's like I bought one of the original Book of Mormons, and this is the story. Like this is the hook behind it. Now for people who a lot of people don't care and they're not going to go away, but people who are Mormon are going to be like, wait, why did he buy it? What was the reason? Like, I want to know about it, and they're going to actually come in and listen to the podcast because of that, okay? And the same thing when I launched it, I could have just like launched the podcast, but I was like, what's the hook behind me launching this podcast? And I was like, okay, well, how do I get people excited enough they're actually going to go listen to this thing? Like, there's a hook of like, I got the original Book of Mormon, I'm reading it, and like, that's a good hook. The next hook was like, how do I launch this? Okay, and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is, there was a guy in the early church who read the entire Book of Mormon in a day. I found out when his birthday was. I said, I'm going to do his name is Parley P. Pratt. I'm going to do Parley P. Pratt Day. I'm going to read the entire Book of Mormon in a day. And I did a Facebook Live, and I did Instagrams, me like trying to read this entire huge book in a day, and I actually failed. I didn't do it. But that hook of the story got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people now listening to the podcast coming in who normally wouldn't have. But because of this hook of this thing I was doing, got people to actually listen and actually care and actually subscribe. Okay, and so for you, it's the same. Like, what's the hook? Okay, and there's hooks happening all over the place. The hook of your offer. There's the hook of each component of your offer. There's a hook of the ad. Like, why is someone listening, right? And so when you're thinking through this, like, what are the hooks for you? And if you don't have them, go and create them. Go and develop them. Go make something amazing. Okay, Drew didn't have a hook, so what did he do? He went and gained a whole bunch of weight and then lost it. So he had a hook. Okay, Natalie had a hook because this thing happened to her, and she could have like hit it and like been embarrassed of it. Instead, she embraced it and made that her hook. Okay, for my ClickFunnels webinar that built our entire company, I had to go search through all of our data to find the actual hook. Okay, for this one, I had to go create the hook. Like, I didn't have a hook. Go figure out a way to do it. Okay, and so for you, start thinking through that. You like, don't be like, I don't have a hook. Like, go and create the hook. That's the secret. That's the big aha I want you guys to have here, is you need to go and actually create that hook, okay? All right, so making sure you have a hook. And it's not just one hook for the whole thing. There's a hook for the offer. There's a hook for the ad. There's a hook for every component inside your offer. All 21 of these things, if you develop it, you're going to bring the hook back to it. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, and it will here as we keep going on. All right, so product secrets. I'm going to go through different tiers of this. Again, most of this is going to be information-based, because the fastest way to increase your offer is by adding information to it. Even if you're selling physical products, even if you're network marketing, no matter what business you're in, the fastest way to increase the value of what it is you're selling is by bundling information into the offer. So most of these things are going to be information-based things. There's a couple other ones as well, but for the most part, they're information, because they're the fastest and the easiest to do. And I'm going to start at the bottom rung of the value ladder, and we're going to move up. So the bottom rung of the value ladder are books. It's the written word. So I'm going to show you guys a whole bunch of ways to create the written word, to get books written fast for what it is you're selling. Okay, so idea number one is write a book. Okay, now this is typically actually one of the worst ways to start, because writing a book is hard. I don't know about you, but this book right here took me 10 years of my life of doing the thing before I knew what to write a book on, and then a year of my life to write it. This book took another year of my life to write. Like, writing a book takes a long, long, long time. So you don't have to always write a book. Now, writing a book is amazing. You should write books, but don't just think like it has to be a book like a traditional book, right? If you look at my slides here, the middle book was 108 proven split tests. This was basically a book that we wrote that was, it wasn't something I sat down and wrote an entire book. I was like, what are we doing, right? For me, I was doing a whole bunch of split tests, and that's interesting information for people. So I just went through and we looked through, at the time we were using Visual Website Optimizer to do all of our split tests. I went through and took screenshots of every single split test we'd ever ran. I found 108 best ones of them, and I just took a screenshot of like the before, the after, the stats, and I wrote like a little blurb of like, this is what we learned. Next one, next one. It was just compiling a whole bunch of things together into an actual book. Okay, so it doesn't have to be like a traditional book, because that takes away a lot harder. Think about you as you went through your journey to whatever your hook was. Like, what were the things you did in the process? What did you learn? What are the things? Like, if you lost weight, what are the recipes? If you were investing stocks, like, what were the things you tried? Like, whatever it is, like, think about, if you read the book Rework, he talks about the byproduct of your business. You doing your business is like one thing, or you doing your thing, there's one thing, but there's this byproduct that happens on the side. He talked about a coffee company, they're making coffee, and the coffee would show up in these huge bags, and they would take the bags, they'd take the coffee out, and they'd throw these bags away, but the bags were like really these cool, like old rustic looking bags, and eventually they had the pile of like thousands of bags that they were just gonna throw away, and they're like, I wonder if we could sell these. And so they started selling just the bags, like the byproduct of what it is they were actually doing. And I think they ended up making more money on the byproduct than they did on the actual thing. Okay, so the 108 split test is the byproduct of what we were doing anyway in our business. We just compiled those things together and boom, became a best-selling book. Okay, another good example, this is my friend Jason Moffett. So he did a lot of Twitter. This is when Twitter first came out. He made this a book. You can read the title there yourself. But he was tweeting, and then he just took all his tweets from like 5 years of tweeting and put them into a book, and it became a Twitter book. So of him just regurgitating his stuff. Think about this. How many Facebook Lives have you done teaching your concept? How many Instagrams, how many blog posts have you made? Just grab like your top 50 blog posts, compile them in a book, and boom, you got a book. You might be like, well, Russell, they can find it on the blog for free. You can go to Jason's Twitter profile right now, and his tweets are still there, but it was shifted on how they consumed it, right? Same content packaged in a different way. Okay, so I can take all my Facebook Lives, I can transcribe and put them in a book, or take all my blog posts, take my top 10 blog posts, put them into a book, and now I got a book. Okay, same content packaged in different ways. This right here is Matt Fury. Matt Fury created these books, made multiple millions of dollars on these books. This one's combat conditioning. He had combat abs. He had a bunch of other ones. All he did is spend a day in his gym. He said, okay, here's how to do a push-up. Took a picture of him doing a push-up, like the before and the after, wrote a paragraph how to do the push-up. Here's me doing a Hindu squat. Took a picture of before and after, and then wrote a paragraph. Okay, did 50 exercises, 50 things, boom, there's a book. Best-selling product. He's made millions of dollars with that. In fact, on the back side of this, if you look at Value Ladder, he has the book Teaching Combat Conditioning. Then he had like a $500 DVD set, Teaching Combat Conditioning, which was him, just a video of him doing the same exercises that were in the book. And then people would actually come to events at his location. He would go and do combat conditioning with them. They'd do all the push-ups together in a group and spent $2,000 or $3,000 to be there, right? Same content packaged in different ways. Okay, and so again, don't think you have to go and write an entire book. You can, but there's so many faster, easier ways to write a book as well. Look at the byproduct, what you're doing, and take that package together and try it inside of a book. Okay, so now idea number one, writing a book. Idea number two, if you don't want to write a book, hire a ghostwriter. Ghostwriters are amazing. You can go to Upwork.com to find ghostwriters, other places as well. What I found works really, really good is going through and actually writing the outline, the table of contents of a book you want to do, and then have somebody go out and actually research all the information on that and come back and then write each of the chapters for you. And then you go back there and edit, and boom, that fast you've got a book. Okay? Back when I got started, one of the big In fact, Frank Kern launched a company called Underachiever Secrets. I ended up buying that company from him later, and we no longer publish it. But what he would do is he'd find hot markets. He would run an ask campaign. Anyone who's ever been through any of our product creation stuff knows what that is. You basically do a survey asking what's your number one question about hot dog carts, your number one question about potato guns, whatever it is. People will answer the questions. You then take all those questions, you compile, and then you figure out like what were the top 10 questions people asked over and over and over again. You make those the table of contents of your book, and then you go to Upwork or freelance or whatever, and you hire someone. You pay them anywhere from $500 to a couple $1,000 to then go and research the answers to all those questions, and that becomes the actual book. Okay, so it's a very simple way to do it as well. So hiring ghostwriters makes it really, really fast and really easy as well. All right, idea number 3. PLR or licensing. PLR stands for private label rights. Now there's a whole market of people who all they do is what I just talked about. They hire ghostwriters to write books on every topic known to man, and then they sell the rights to those books. So if you go to Google right now and type in PLR golf or private label rights golf, there's probably a dozen golf products that are out there for starting out. And you pay $100 or $1,000 and you get the rights to this course. You can take the course, and usually they'll get, in every PLR product has different rules, things like that. But you can take it, a lot of times you can change the title, you can put your name on it, you can repackage it, you can shift it around, you can do all sorts of stuff. But a lot of times most of the hard work's already been done. Okay, I found PLR in almost every topic you can dream of. You just gotta Google it and see, and people are selling it all over the place. Now sometimes PLR stuff's really, really bad, so make sure you actually read through it and find it. Sometimes it's really, really good. I've used PLR all the time, a lot of times in upsells, front-end products, like things like that. So go search for PLR, private label rights, and then your topic, and search. I promise you, for most markets, people have already written a book or a course or a video series in your exact market. You can just take that and then repackage it, rebundle it, and it becomes your own. Okay, so PLR is big. The other one is actually licensing. So one time I had a website that I actually sold on Flippa.com. At the time, it was the number one highest paid Flippa listing ever. We sold the site for $144,000. So I had this hook of like, I sold a website. The problem is I didn't have a book or a course teaching people how to build a website, and I didn't want to figure that out. So I found one of my friends who would actually create an entire course on how to flip websites, and I licensed it from him. I said, hey man, you've got a course on how to list web or how to flip websites. I flipped a website. I've got a good hook. I don't have a course. I don't have time to create a course. I don't want to create a course. You've already created a course. Can I license it from you? He's like, well, Russell, I sell it on my own over here. I said, I know. I'll pay you, I can't remember what it was like. I'll pay you $3,000 to license the entire content from you. You can keep selling it on your own. I'm going to license it, and I'm going to sell it on my own over here. I'm going to sell it through my own sales funnel, my own way. And he was like, sure. And he licensed it to me. Okay. I've licensed traffic courses from the past from the same person that's inside of our one of our traffic things. Like, a lot of people who are selling products, they will license you their stuff. If you go to clickbank.com right now and you find a product that's similar to what it is you want to sell, I bet you 9 times out of 10, if you contact that person directly and say, hey, you're selling this product now, it's awesome, I would love to also sell it. Can you license it to me? And most people will do that for a couple $1,000. They'll license you their entire course that they're already selling, especially people who aren't like on the top 10. And if they're in the top 10 at ClickBank, they're killing it. If you go down 10, 15, 20 pages deep, most people aren't selling the product anymore. Like people just stop buying it, like whatever reason. You can go to those people directly and say, hey, can I license this from you? I'll pay you $1,000 for the license. And again, I can't tell you how many times I've done this. People are like, sure, I'm selling 1 or 2 copies a day right now anyway. It's not going to hurt me. $1,000 would be great. So they'll sell you the license for whatever. Now, obviously, every deal like that's negotiable. It changes for every single person, but it's not that difficult. Okay, I've licensed my products in the past. People, huge name famous people license their stuff. Most people, there's licensing deals you can do, and it's not that difficult. So go find someone else who's selling the same thing or something that you used to do, or look at someone who did a product launch a year ago. In fact, I've been doing, it's been fun. Over the last 10 years, I've seen so many product launches in my market, and I know which products were amazing. And most people do this big product launch, and they close it down, and they never sell it again. So I'm going back to these people and saying, hey, module 3, you talked about this, kind of license that content from you? And they're like, you can just have it, man. I'm like, whatever, okay? And so look at that licensing. There's so many licensing deals. Okay, look at whatever you're selling, look at other people who are selling, look at people who sold stuff in the past, find those things, and you can license it from them and then use that content as your own, or just have it as part of what it is you're selling, okay? For this one, again, I had my own hook. I sold the site for $144,000. Do you want to learn how I did it? I've got this friend, he created this course, he's one of my students, and boom, there's the story. He's going to teach you exactly how to do what I did and he becomes the content. I use my own hook though, okay? Does that make sense? All right. Number 3. Number 4, compile a book, okay? Now, the most famous franchise that did this was Chicken Soup for the Soul, okay? Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield wrote this book, right? No, they didn't. They didn't write any of this book outside of the intro, right? What they did is they compiled stories together. So the first Chicken Soup for the Soul was 101 stories to open the heart and rekindle the spirit, right? He had 101 people, each read a chapter, jam into this book, and it became Chicken Soup for the Soul. Okay, and they made insane amounts of money with it. And they're like, this is a good idea. We should do it again. And they've done it now hundreds of times. They have Chicken Soup for the preteen soul, Chicken Soup for the grandma soul, Chicken Soup for the dog lover soul, Chicken Soup for the kid soul, Chicken Soup for the nurse's soul, for the Girl Scout soul, like all these different markets, right? They just go to market like, okay, let's go and do it for the nurses. They find 101 nurses of stories. They compile these stories, plug it in together, and boom, this becomes a book. Okay, if I was doing this in my market, I'd be like, I can go to the 2 Comma Club winners, be like 101 ways to win a 2 Comma Club, and have 101 people each write a chapter, plug it in a book, and boom, I now got a front-end offer. Okay, I can do this with recipes. What's your best keto recipe? And go to all these different keto people, and have each one of them give you the best keto recipe, compile it together, boom, I got the 97 best keto recipes on planet Earth. Or the 17, doesn't have to be 101, it can be whatever it is, right? But you're just compiling stuff from other people. Okay, and you can do the same thing like blog posts, like find like your top 10 favorite blog posts, go to people like, hey, your blog post is amazing, can I compile it in my new book? 99% of the time they're gonna say yes. You put it in their book and now you compile together, here's my top 20 ways to do blah, all compiled in this book you guys can get for free. For plus shipping or whatever, right? Or as component number 2, I'm gonna give you guys the top 30 keto recipes from the top keto experts on planet Earth. Each one of them give me the best recipe, I plugged it together, and boom, now we've got this thing. Okay, so I compile a bunch of things together, I figure out the hook behind it, and now I've got hook and a product goes inside of my offer, okay? All right, so compiling books, super easy, super fast. Just find other people who are doing the exact same thing you're doing, get all their top things, compile them together, and boom, now you got another product that you can include inside your offer. All right, number 5, idea collection, okay? What kind of ideas do you have? This is one of my friend's book he launched, this is probably, 10 years ago, but he just had a bunch of ideas. Okay, and so he's like, I can't create all these ideas, but I have all these ideas for this and this. How many of you guys have good ideas, right? He had a whole bunch of ideas, so we had them listed out in like a pad of paper, and eventually he had 378 ideas. So he's like, well, I could go try to make all 378 companies, or I could just like make a book and just call it predictions. And so he listed out the idea and explained it, and he had 378 of them. And he compiled these ideas together and he sold it. And he made insane amounts of money, over 6 figures selling this ebook, and all it was ideas. People looking at it like, that is a good idea, I'm gonna make that product. And people started using those as ideas to launch their own business. Okay, so you just gotta compile ideas. In fact, this training course we're doing right now, Product Secrets, guess what it is? It's me compiling 21 ideas about how to create a product together. I compile it together and I explain it. That's it. Okay, this will be, I'm using this training we're recording right now will be a product inside of multiple offers. Okay, right now I know I'm including it inside of my 2 Comma Club X coaching program because I want those guys to have this so they understand how to create products. I will make a standalone product called Product Secrets that will be a front-end product that will teach people how to create products. There will be products in the future I have where component number 3 is going to be, I'm going to give you this training on how to create your own product. I'll give you 21 ways to create a product. Okay, that'll be a component inside of an offer in the future. Does that make sense? And all it is me compiling together 21 different ways to make a product. What can you compile together? What ideas do you have that you can just bundle together and boom, becomes a product? Okay, there you go. Idea collection number 5. Number 6, a newsletter. Okay, now I've been running a print newsletter now for over a decade. I think it's like 11 or 12 years now we've been doing it. And the way we initially did it is I remember Dan Kennedy had a newsletter. Every month he'd write a newsletter. It was like 8 or 10 or 12 pages of him just kind of ranting about whatever. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I'm going to do a newsletter. And at the time I had my little company with like 8 of us working together. And I went to Brittany, who still publishes my newsletter to this day. And I said, hey, let's make a newsletter. She's like, okay, how do I do that? I'm like, I don't know. And she had done publishing at school and she grew up. She knew how to actually do it. But I was like, how about this? Have each person in our company here write an article about what they do in our company, and we'll compile them together to become a newsletter. And so every month, each person, I would write an article about what I was doing, and then like our traffic guy would write an article about what he was doing, and then our SEO guy would write an article about what he was doing, and they each write an article about what they were doing. She'd compile it together and it became a newsletter we ship out every single month. Okay, you can do physical newsletters, you can do print newsletters, or digital newsletters. Like there's a lot of ways to do it, but the newsletter is just a really cool thing. Like this month, what is it we're doing? Okay, if I was in the weight loss space, the same thing. This month, I'm going to compile together, here's the exercise and diet plans I did this month personally. Compile them together, boom, there's a newsletter for the month. People get it now, they can copy, they can follow along and do the same thing that they, for the next month for themselves as well, okay? Every market is simple to do newsletters. The financial market's huge for this, right? All it is like newsletters about the trades they're doing, what they're doing and how they're doing it, and what they're looking at, and like just sharing all sorts of stuff that's happening right now currently. Newsletters work really good for like the current stuff that you're currently doing right now, compile them together. And again, you don't, like when I did this newsletter, I wrote one article a month. Okay, but 8 of us, so all 8 of us, so we had 9 articles a month when this newsletter was like a 44-page newsletter, and it was amazing value for people. Okay, and we've tweaked it and changed it throughout the years. Right now, as you know, it's Funnel University. It might change again in the future. Right now, twice a month, I look at a funnel, I funnel hack it, and I put the screenshots, the pictures, the explanation, boom, into newsletter, and that's my newsletter every single month. Okay, so newsletters are a huge way, quick way to develop products. Number 7, re-niche content. Okay, now this is an example from David Fry, who's one of my favorite people on planet Earth. So he created a marketing course to help different industries, or to help people, right? So he had the 8 Dirty Little Motorcycle Dealer Marketing Sins, and he marketed this to motorcycle dealerships. Okay, then he took the same thing, he just changed the cover and a couple of the words inside. He had the 8 Dirty Marketing Sins for RV dealers. Okay, and then the 8 Dirty Little Marketing Sins for boat dealers, and he niched it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, so one thing you can do is take whatever it is you're currently selling and then re-niche it and go another one, then re-niche it, go another one, re-niche it, go another one. Or you can find someone who's selling something amazing, right? Like, let's say you find someone who's doing marketing really good in the dental industry. What if you went and you licensed it from them and say, I want to take your course, but I want to rebrand it and tweak it and now make it for the chiropractic industry, okay? You can rebrand and re-niche, very simple and very easy, okay? Either your own stuff or other people's stuff, and it's a fast way to get content done really, really quickly, okay? Re-niche it, license it. Again, you notice a lot of these ideas, they kind of weave together. Okay, I can re-niche my own stuff, or I can license for somebody else and re-niche it. Now I've got this new opportunity in my market that someone else is doing in a different market. And that quick, you got a whole product or a product line. Okay, all right, idea number 8, the public domain. Now, I love public domain. I used to geek out on this. For those who know me, I used to have a membership site. We had courses I did, a whole bunch of stuff on public domain. I haven't talked about it for probably a decade, but it's still one of my favorite ways to get product. So the public domain refers to anything that was not protected under U.S. copyright law. Now, this includes all works published before 1923. So anything published before 1923 here in America is automatically in the public domain. You can take it and reuse it for whatever you want. So books like Think and Grow Rich, Master Keys System, How to Win Friends and Influence People, all these old personal development books from pre-1923 are already in the public domain. If you go to Gutenberg.org, you can grab the text files and you can republish them in a million ways, as much as you want. I know at least a dozen people that built entire 6- and 7-figure businesses off of just Napoleon Hill's, I almost said Napoleon Dynamite, just off of Napoleon Hill's books like Think and Grow Rich and his different product lines, okay? Because it was all published before 1923. Okay, I used to go to eBay. In fact, I'll show you some examples. If you go to eBay, you can search for books based on the year they're published. So I type in 1923, and I type in my weight loss, physical culture, marketing, business, personal development, and I would type in keywords. And you see all these old books selling for like $1.50, $2 on eBay. And I would buy them, and you can get people to scan them and turn them into ebooks, and you can take those and you can republish them as your own. All right, so anything between 1923. Now. If you look at books published in 1923 and 1978, so 1923 the copyright laws began, but they were finite. They didn't last forever. So between 1923 and 1978, if things were actually, you had to file a copyright. If they filed a copyright, then the copyright's still there. If not, those are also in the public domain. And it's guesstimated, I think it's like 92 or 93% of all works were not actually officially copyrighted. So most things between 1923 and 1978 are in that window. And so what I do when I find a book that's maybe like 1940 or 1950, there's people you can use. In fact, the company I used to use is called Hynek & Associates. If you Google Mike Hynek, he is a lawyer in DC right by the copyright offices. And I used to have him, I would pay him a couple $100. He would take the book, he would go across the street to the copyright office, see if someone had filed a copyright for the book. If it hadn't, he'd come back and he would give me his letter from him saying that, like, yeah, it looks like this book was not in the public domain, or it looks like this book is in the public domain because I could not find a copyright filed for it. And so I had a ton of books that between those 2 years I was able to get as well, okay? And I'm sure Michael still does that work. If you search for him, you can find him and get him to do those things. But usually for me to make it really easy, I just find things published in the United States before 1923, and it's automatically in the public domain. There's so much good stuff out there. All right. So a good example of this, a guy that I used to study from a lot when I first got started, his name is Matt Fury. And one of Matt's very first products he ever came out with was a book called The Farmer Burns School of Wrestling. Now, this was an old wrestling course created in 1914. It was a direct mail thing that Farmer Burns was selling. And he found a copy of this on eBay, I believe, or somewhere. And he took it and he repackaged it into lessons in wrestling and physical culture. It's literally just his forward and then these lessons here inside of a book. And he made millions of dollars selling this as a book. Okay, and so that's kind of how public domain works. You can find the things, you can republish them and sell them as your own. It works really, really good as standalones, as front-end products, a bunch of stuff like that. Like how many of you guys right now, if you're in the funnel building space, you can do Think and Grow Rich for funnel builders. You can make a derivative work from what it is, right? Think and Grow Rich for funnel builders. Take the course, rewrite it, make it some tweaks so it fits with your market, and then you can go and sell. Or Think and Grow Rich for chiropractors, Think and Grow Rich for dentists, Think and Grow Rich for whatever. Take the book, make a derivative work, add your commentary and your notes throughout it as it relates back to your profession. Now you got a free plus shipping front end that's specifically for your target market. Okay, there's so many cool ways you can use public domain stuff. I could brainstorm on this for years, but hopefully it gets the wheels in your head spinning on what's actually possible. Okay, all right. Now I'm gonna shift. Those are some of the text, the written things we can do, right? Books. And things like that. Now we're gonna start transitioning up the value ladder from books into audio. Again, people will spend more money for the exact same thing packaged in different ways. So transitioning what you created here in books into audio format automatically increases the perceived value of it so you can sell it for more. Okay? All right, so the spoken word is number 2 here. All right, so idea number 9 is creating an audiobook. Okay, so after I heard about, and then notice how again these ideas will tie together. So I heard about Matt Fury taking Farmer Burns' old original wrestling course. So I started Googling, I started going on eBay, and I found another book that Farmer Burns had written. It was called The Life Work of Farmer Burns. I was like, oh my gosh, it was written pre-1923, so it was in the public domain. So I bought it. I had someone go through and scan it, so I actually put it into a PDF document, so I had an ebook. But then I was like, I want to make this even more valuable. So my father-in-law has a really good voice. And so I hired my father-in-law to actually read the entire book. So he sat in front of a microphone for like 3 days. I paid him a couple $100. He read the entire book, and I took that and put it on CDs, and I had the audio version of The Life Work of Farmer Burns, and then I started selling that online. So I was selling the digital ebook version and the audiobook version here back in the day. So I was using a couple of these ideas together. I was using public domain, I was using ebooks, and I was using audiobooks to create an offer here back in the day when I was selling The Life Work of Farmer Burns. Okay, you guys see how powerful this is? Just taking it from physical to audio is a huge shift. With both my books, we sell the audiobook version for a lot more. In fact, these are free plus shipping. The audiobook's like $50 and you get the audiobook. It was just me sitting in a studio for a day reading my entire book. But because the perceived value of audio is higher, I can sell it for a lot more than I can for an actual book. Okay, so there's the audiobook. So turning your book into an audiobook. Now, this goes back to everything you talked about before. PLR, turning into an audiobook. If you license somebody's product, maybe like, you can't do this with me obviously, but let's say you found someone's got a really good book in your market, say, hey, I want to record an audiobook of me recording it. I just want the license to be able to sell that if that's okay. And most will be like, sure, you can read my book and then sell it. And now you license that and you turn someone else's book into an audiobook. Everything we talked about from the book side, you can instantly turn it into an audiobook. Does that make sense? All right, so idea number 9 is audiobooks. Number 10, interview other people. Okay, find someone with a really good hook and interview them. Okay, so this is a good example. One of the this is actually the very first time I made $1 million in a funnel. This is my very first 2 Comma Club funnel. So I read this book. It was called The 12-Month Millionaire from a guy named Vince James. And this book had the best hook I'd ever seen. It was how he made $100 million in less than 23 months. Okay, super good hook as a 28-year-old kid. I was like, oh, so he got me to buy the book, and I was like, this is amazing. And then as the author, I was like, this hook is so good. And I called him, I said, hey man, can I interview you? And he said, sure. So actually, he let me interview him for 6 hours. And then I used that as a bonus to sell his book, and he was totally cool with that. And then my agreement with him afterwards was like, hey, you can use this for whatever you want. I'm gonna use it for whatever I want to use it for. And he's like, cool, no worries. And so the first time I used this as, again, everyone was selling, there was a whole bunch of affiliates selling this book. So I used it as a bonus to take this product and turn it into an offer. And so I had affiliates who had already bought the book rebuy it through me because they wanted to hear my 6-hour interview with Vince James. And so I was able to bundle as an affiliate initially, okay? Notice how I'm doing this to make my affiliate offers more sexy. So that's one of the best ways I've become a super affiliate. Okay, but then after the promotion was done, then I let him have the rights to the audios. He ended up selling them in the future, but I had the rights to the audios as well. And for 2 years, I didn't do anything with them. They were just there. And one day I was trying to figure out, like, what should I sell? Like, what should my next funnel be? And I was like, well, I have those old interviews with Vince James. I was like, the hook's amazing, how he made $100 million. He let me interview him for 6 hours. Let's sell that. So I took the audios. I had someone transcribe them. You can go to someplace like rev.com, and for $1 a minute, they'll transcribe the entire thing. So I had someone transcribe it, and then I sold this. And so I sold the audio of the interview, and then I sold the transcripts of the interview, and that became the offer that we sold, and then we upsold. I bought a whole bunch of copies of the physical book, licensed them from Vince, and so I paid a license to Vince for the physical book, and then we upsold people the physical book after they bought the interview. We launched that, and like I said, we did over $1 million. It was my very first ever 2 Comma Club funnel where I made $1 million, and it was an interview from somebody else. Okay, so if you don't have a good hook yet, like, who has a good hook in your market? who's got something exciting? I know all of you guys are like, well, I don't have a good hook, but so-and-so did this, and so-and-so did this, and like all these people have these good hooks. Like go find that person who's got the good hook and interview them, okay? And most people will say yes to that. I know Jason Fladlin is the king of this. Like when he creates any webinar offer, when he's building out his value stack, he's like, okay, I need a big hook for every single thing inside of the stack for what it is I'm selling. And so he'll go and he'll find like who's got the best hook, and he'll find that person and he'll interview him. So for example, one of his webinars recently was about e-commerce funnels. And he was like, hey, I need a hook, I need a story, because I don't have a hook right now that's that sexy. And he's like, okay. And he found Trey Llewellyn, and Trey's got the number one biggest, highest grossing funnel inside of ClickFunnels right now. He did $20 million in 6 weeks. And he was like, Trey has the hook, he's the story, it's the best story, no one else can say that. Trey's got it. So he said, hey Trey, can I interview you for my course? And Trey's like, sure. And he said, I need to wire you some money. And he's like, why? Like, I'll just do it for free. And Jason's like, no, I need to wire you money because I need to make the perceived value of this bigger. Okay, and so he actually wired Trey, I don't know, like $5,000 of money, and then he did the interview with him, and then when he did the value stack, he's like, this is the deal. I found the number one dude, the biggest guy, the guy's made more money inside of an e-commerce funnel than anybody else on this planet, and he did it selling a flashlight. And I actually hired him to consult me. I paid him $5,000. Here's a picture of the wire transfer I sent him of $5,000 to figure out exactly what he did. He sat down with me and explained everything over a 4-hour period of time. And this changed my life forever. It's been so good. I'm gonna actually let you have access to this for free. Okay, now a couple things it did. It leveraged Trey's hook. He got the interview, which was awesome. Because he wired him money for the thing, it increased the perceived value of that interview and a whole bunch of other cool things. Okay, so these are the little ideas of how we're taking an interview and making it sexy. Right now, some people have an interview, it's a podcast, and it's hard to sell a podcast interview because there's a billion podcast interviews free online. So instead, I gotta find the hook, I gotta increase the perceived value of it, and these are all the things we do. You get transcribed, that also increases the perceived value, because now you got the audio and the text, right? So interviews are still one of the greatest ways to create product. Even though right now most people don't do interviews for products anymore because, again, there's so many podcast interviews, they don't think their value. It's because people aren't increasing the perceived value of those interviews. And those are some tricks that you can do to increase the perceived value of your interviews. All right, number 11. Okay, I talked about there's tons of podcasts out there, right? So what I like to do is I like to compile, and I've seen people do this before, like I'm gonna compile my top 10 favorite books, my top 10 podcast episodes, my top 10 favorite podcasts, or things like that, or things that are really hard to find. So what, in fact, let me see if I can make an offer right now for you guys. In the last 12 years of my life, I've been listening to podcasts. I've listened to podcasts every single day for 12 years. And from that, there's a lot of really, really good ones. But there's been 17 that have given me a huge shift in my life and in my business. Not things that are like little nuggets, but huge shifts. Now, obviously, those are free. You can go out there, you can find them. But you're gonna have to listen to 12 years of podcasts times 365 days. You're gonna have to listen to 3,000 plus podcasts to find them. But I guarantee you can find them out there. They're really, really good. So good luck. Hopefully you can find them. Or if you want, I actually have a list of my top 17 favorite podcasts that had the episodes that had the biggest change on my life. And not only did I listen to them because they were so powerful, I had them all transcribed as well. And so what I will do is this unique bonus is I'm actually going to give you the link to my top 17 favorite podcasts. Plus, I'm going to give you the transcripts. Plus, I took notes on all of them. I'm going to give you my personal notes on the big ideas I had from this. I'm going to give you all that for just $97. Boom, I just made free podcasts they can find anywhere worth $97, okay? By using the same things. Like, they're hard to find. Where are they at? I don't know, but I know where they're at. These are exactly where they're at. I'm gonna give you links to those so you can find them. Okay, so I compiled them for you, just the best ones. I'm gonna give you transcripts of those things. I'm gonna give you my personal notes. I saw Todd Brown was promoting somebody's book, and one of the most brilliant things he did is he took his book and he took notes on every single chapter. And his big offer was like, I have 60 pages of notes. When you buy the book, you get my notes as well. I'm just like, I want to know it. In fact, I bought 2 copies of the book. I'd already bought the book and I bought it again because I wanted Todd Brown's notes. Okay, that's what's powerful. Okay, so you finding things for people and looking through everything is huge. So in your market, who are the top 10 or 20 or 30 podcasters? What are the best podcasts? What are your favorite episodes? Compile those together and boom, you've got now a new thing. All right. Okay, I did number 12, Telesummit series. Now, one reason why I threw this one here is I wanted to show a picture of me dressed like He-Man because, I'm He-Man. So Telesummit series are huge. This is one from Marissa Murgatroyd does a Telesummit series called Internet Marketing Superheroes or something like that. And so she designs every person superheroes, but she gets everyone together and she interviews them on their superpower and does a huge telesummit. Now, this isn't a course about telesummits. It's about product creation, but telesummits are a great way to do that. Because you can get a whole bunch of experts in your field, right? Now, a couple of things I found that work really good, and this comes back to the fundamentals we talked about at the very beginning of this, is like, what's the hook of this telesummit? Why do people care, right? She did a really good job with hooks, like these are the superpowers, these are the superheroes of this industry. But if you do this right, it's huge. Like David Fry, I've talked about David a couple times. He had a telesummit company for a while, and he did telesummits on like 50 different telesummits. He interviewed all the best lead gen people in the world, all the best copywriters in the world, all the best, and he did all these different telesummits. And each one had a good big hook, big idea, and a whole bunch of interviews. And he had the interviews, he had the transcripts and everything. And I remember he shut that company down, but in the interim, he got like 300 different interviews. And I remember at an event he was speaking at, he stood on stage and he talked about telesummits and how powerful a tool it is. And then he talked about the interviews. He said, these 300 interviews that I did, like it was the greatest thing in the world. And then he pulled out of his pocket a little USB drive. And he's like, all of these are on this drive right now. All the audios, all the transcripts, all the notes, like everything's on this thing. And this thing right here is worth, tens of thousands of dollars, not millions of dollars to me. This is like 300 hours of consultations with top business experts on planet Earth. And they're all right here. I carry this with me everywhere I go because if I have any idea or I get stuck, I need a brainstorm, I plug it in, and there's someone there that can tell me exactly how to do what I'm trying to do. He said, this is like my own consultants or whatever, right? And he talked about this thing, and he kept talking about it during the presentation, and everyone's like, oh, I wish I had that thing. Like, he made the value of this little USB drive so big by talking about it that we all wanted it. And when he got to his stack, when he was closing, he went through everything, and then his last thing at the very end was like, he pulled his MP3 out of the thing, and he's like, the first person in the back of the room, I'm going to give you this. And people started jumping over it, like fighting the back. And they said, wait, hold on. We have like a 3-way time, not really sure. And he's like, I got something I didn't tell you about before. He's like, last night I went to Office Depot and I actually bought 20 USB drives and I filled them all up. So I actually have 20 of them. So the first 20 get that. And then people are like just boom, fighting back because the perceived value of that thing was tens of thousands of dollars. And because he had that as part of the stack, it was huge, right? So these telesummit series, like these interviews you're getting, you should have a mic when you do everything. You should be recording everything you do because the compilation of those things are huge. Like I'm going back to interviews I did 12 years ago. I interviewed Gary Halbert before he passed away. I have that. That will become a friend and offer this year. I promise you that, right? So interviewing people, and then there's so many ways you can take those things, repackage them, rebuild them, and like have different ways, okay? So a couple things, it comes down to a hook. So this is 14 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were first getting started, me and Mike Filson, a bunch of the early marketing gurus, we did teleseminars all the time, and we would do them around a theme. So this, for example, this is one of Mike Filson's best-selling ones. It was called Fire Sale Secrets. Now, what's a fire sale? It's when you put together a really good offer and you launch it and you make a bunch of money. And so Mike had done a fire sale and he made like, I don't know, 50, 60 grand. And I saw that. I'm a college kid. I saw him do it. I'm like, that's awesome. So I did a fire sale around Christmas time. It's called the Grinch sale. I did like $30,000. And then I'm trying to remember who else was in it. Josh Anderson did it. A couple of like 4 or 5 people all done these fire sales, made a bunch of money. And so Mike's like, okay, this fire sale, a bunch of people doing it. There's a huge hook on there. He's like, I'm going to interview people. So he created a sequence called Fire Sale Secrets. He interviewed each of us individually on how we did our fire sales, walking behind the scene, what we did, how we did it. And then he launched this as Fire Sale Secrets. And that hook of like, here's how to do a fire sale, make a quick $30,000 in a weekend was huge. And he made tons of money, right? So he figured out a hook, found the people that could deliver on that hook, interviewed them, and boom, that became the offer. Okay. Next one here, this was pre-launch secrets. So we had been doing a bunch of pre-launches, and I was like, that whole concept of pre-launch is sexy. It's a good hook. So I wanted to do something like that. So I took because I had pre-launched, if you look at the slide here, like I had all my successful product launches. I had marketing deal time, I had sales letter in a box, I had the Grinch sale, I had source code sale, I had lost files. And then Mike Filson had done list.com, JV Network, free advertising giveaway, expansion sale, fire sale secrets. So we both pre-launched a bunch of stuff. And I was like, that's a hook. Everyone wants to know how to pre-launch something. So I called Mike up and I said, let me interview. We interviewed each other for like 3 or 4 hours. He interviewed me about what I did. I told him about what he had done. And these interviews became an offer. And then we sold. And we made a ton of money with that as well. Okay. So we find the hook, find the people who have done what you're trying to figure out inside the hook, and interview them. And then boom, that becomes the thing. A lot of times we interview people because we want to interview the guru. And with that, we think that's the key. It's not. It's the hook. Find the hook and then find the gurus who can fulfill on that hook. Now, sometimes you can do it without even having the right people. Like, for example, this is the year before I made my $1 million in a year. I wanted to. So January 1st, I did a teleseminar series. And the goal was like, I'm going to try to make $1 million this year. And I want everyone else to do the same thing as well. And I said, I had 4 or 5 friends who were all going to try to do the same goal. And so we did this interview series, and all it was I asked each of them, what are you going to try to do this year to make $1 million this year? None of us had done it yet, by the way. And Mike Filson was one. He said, I'm going to try to do this. And he explained what he was going to do. His business model was for the year. And then someone else said, this is my business model. And my business model. And we had like 4 or 5 of us all do our business model. And then the hook was like, here's how I'm going to go from 0 to $1 million in a year. I got my 5 closest friends. I brainstormed with all of them. And I'm like, this is the offer. And then the other thing is, I did the math. I was like, what's $1 million? If you divide it by 365, it was $2,739.73 a day. So the hook was, how are we going to make $2,739.73 a day every single day for an entire year to make $1 million this year? And so we did that thing. And when all was said and done after this campaign, we made a ton of money up front, but it also got us all focused in that way. And that was the first year that I broke the 2 Comma Club, was this year. Okay. And so, again, these are just ideas. Find the hook, the sexy, sexy hook, and then line up the people who can fulfill on that promise. Okay. This is exciting. Anyway, makes me want to start doing telesummits again. Tell a series. All right, so that was number 12. Number 13, mastermind roundtables. Now this one's cool because my very first Dan Kennedy product I ever bought, I bought it on eBay, and it was this 2005 Platinum Inner Circle Mastermind Meetings. And I didn't know what it was, and I put it in my CD player, and basically he has this mastermind group similar to how I have mine, and at the last day of the mastermind group, they set up a microphone for 2 hours, and he had like 10 questions. He's like, okay guys, what do you guys think is the #1 lead generation strategy today? And like everyone like gave their best idea. And next person, like, what do you think about this? And everyone gave their best idea, and he went through that for 2 hours. And I remember listening to it, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was learning all these things from all these different people. It was like the coolest thing in the world. It was just a mastermind group of a whole bunch of smart people talking about specific topics. And everyone's trying to one-up each other. It was just one of the coolest things in the world. And the other amazing thing about this, after I heard that, it was so powerful, I wanted to get in the group. And from that is when I called GKIC and I begged them to get in the inner circle, their platinum meetings, because I listened to that. So it helped me to send and want to go up to the next level because I'd seen what the power was of that group. So if you have a mastermind group or you got a hiring coaching program, whatever, bring your top 5 clients together and interview them, and then make that the thing, and then it gets people who buy that, it gives them the content, but then also makes them want to ascend up. Okay? All right. Now I want to stress really quick before I keep moving on, like, I hope that no one's like, well, this doesn't work for my business because I'm selling physical products, I'm in network marketing or whatever, right? Let's say you're ketosis, like find 22 ketosis experts to do telesummit, or find 3 people who are going through ketosis right now trying to lose weight, and we'll ask them like, what's your plan to go through it next little bit? Find 10 people who are in a ketosis Facebook group, bring them together for a mastermind recording and interview them what they're doing, and then boom, that becomes a product, okay? Hopefully this gets the wheels in your head spinning, you guys. This is so simple. Creating offers becomes so fun when you realize it's like, this is what it is. It's compiling information in a really fun, exciting, sexy way. All right, now we're moving from text, from written word to audio. Now we're moving up to video, video and things like that. That's the next level of value. People perceive video courses, things like that, as more valuable. So here's the next shift and next transition up, okay? Number 14 here. So we're going back, like we just talked about the Dan Kennedy, the audio mastermind group, right? So fast forward a little while ago, or rewind a little while ago, I was at an event, and it was Yannick Silver's second underground event, so whatever year that was, I don't remember. And I was in the room, and I was in the hallway talking to a bunch of guys, and some guys were like, hey, we've had a really good idea for a product. We're gonna go up in a hotel room. We just rented a hotel room for the next 3 hours, and we're gonna record a product about how to make how to make $30,000 in the next 30 days with no list, affiliates, no products. That was the hook. So all they had was a hook, and they came to me and they're like, hey, this is the hook. Would you want to come in the room and just tell us what you would do if you were trying to go from 0 to 30K in 30 days? I'm like, sure. And they walk, okay, meet us up 2, and they went next person, and then they went in the room. They found speakers and a bunch of people, and within like 30 minutes, they had, I can't remember, 10 or 12 people. I wonder if it says it on the sales letter. Anyway, a dozen people up in a hotel room with a little old school video camera. You can see how bad the quality was of this thing. And the question, the hook was, all right, guys, if you had no list, no affiliates, no products, you're gonna make $30,000 in the next 30 days, what would you do? And they went to the first person, what would you do? Boom, what would you do? What would you do? And they interviewed all of us about the thing, and we all kind of played off each other, and we went up to each other, and they recorded that, and that became a product. Okay, and so you do the exact same thing, you guys. Like, set up a video camera, find people with a goal, interview them, figure out the hook, find the right people, record them, and boom, yeah, I got a video course as well. All right, that was idea number 14. Number 15 now, Camtasia or ScreenFlow. These are 2 tools that will make you insane amounts of money. Which one do you need? Well, if you are on a Mac, you should use ScreenFlow. If you are on a PC, you should use Camtasia. Same tool, different operating systems, right? All they are is they record what's happening on your computer screen. That's it. So simple, okay? And so what you do is you go and you set up a microphone, you make PowerPoint slides teaching something, you open up ScreenFlow if you're on a Mac, Camtasia if you're on PC, you click record, and then you just talk and you teach through the slides. That's it. Okay, it's so simple. And there's so many ways to do this. I remember David Fry told me that when he was, he used to be in like the dog training market, and he wanted to do, so he combined 3 or 4 of these things together. So one thing he did is he went and he bought like, I think it was bulldogs or something. He bought like 20 books on how to train bulldogs. And then he like hired a ghostwriter, sent him all the books, said, I want you to study all these things and understand the best ways to train bulldogs. So he paid the guy to study all these books. The guy read all the books and said, okay, I know a whole bunch of ways. And I was like, okay, now I need you to make me an outline. If you were to teach us from scratch, what would you do? And he's like, okay, here's an outline. He said, okay, now you got the outline. Now I need you to make PowerPoint slides to teach, to walk someone through this entire thing. So he had the guy then go and create PowerPoint slides for the entire thing. And then he sends David Fry, I don't know, 200 slides on bulldog training. David opened up Camtasia, clicked record, and then he taught bulldog training through these slides. He had someone else do the research, someone else compile the whole thing. He opened Camtasia and taught it. Okay. If you've ever spoken on a webinar, if you've ever done any kind of presentation, if you want to teach a topic, like if you can create slides anyway, now you can turn it into a product really fast and really, really easy. Okay. So this is for the first 10 years of my life. Almost every product I created was was on Camtasia. I make slides, I record myself teaching, and that was the product. Okay, and it's that simple. Take your concept, put it into slides, click record and go. Or if you're doing demos, like you don't have to do slides, it can be your screencast, right? Like we do tons of demos showing people how to use ClickFunnels, using ScreenFlow, and using Camtasia, like teaching people how to do stuff. The computer, what was the guy's name? The computer doctor, was the old dude who used to be on the infomercials for years. He made billions of dollars, and it was like how to use Microsoft Word for beginners. And it was like him Camtasiaing how to use Microsoft Word. He sells people who want to learn Microsoft Word. Here's how to use Photoshop, make it that boom. Here's how to use like any tool, any software, any whatever, you can create courses on that. In fact, I had a friend, there was a product back in the day called Traffic Equalizer, which was this software that would game the search engines, and people would pay $97 for the software. And but the software is really confusing to use. So my friend bought the software, mastered it, then he made Camtasia videos, him actually using the software, and he sold the Camtasia videos, teach people how to use the software for $500. He made more money selling the training on how to use the software than the software developers used to actually sell the software. Okay, I wish more of you guys would go out there and create training videos for your sub-market on how to use ClickFunnels and sell them. Like that would be like the greatest thing in the world for me. Okay, you have my permission. Go make ClickFunnels for chiropractors and record yourself using ClickFunnels and showing them how to do it. Right? Like there's so many ways to use Camtasia and ScreenFlow. Like the sky is the limit. Okay. So hopefully that helps as well. Okay, that's idea number 5, Camtasia and ScreenFlow. Idea number 16, compile the best of the hard to find videos. This is very, very similar to what we talked about with the podcast. But imagine this, like, let's say I have a real estate investing offer, right? I'm selling my course. I'd be like, okay, who are the top real estate gurus? Who do people think are the best, right? You got like Donald Trump, you got Robert Kiyosaki. I'd be looking for stuff like that. Then I would go to YouTube, I type in like Robert Kiyosaki real estate building, Robert Kiyosaki investing, Donald Trump real estate building. And I would find all the amazing videos. And you will find 2, 3, 4, 5-hour videos of some of the best people in the world for free on YouTube right now, right? And so what you do is you can take those things together and you can compile them. Now, the big thing, if a video is unlisted, do not do this tactic, okay? Because I unlist all my videos that are in my paid content, and if somebody starts posting those other places, we go after them legally. And I know a lot of other people will as well. But if something's free and it's on YouTube and it's public, it gets free. There's no lawsuit that they will ever win of you taking that and putting it into a members area or putting it into a product, right? And so like, yeah, like you could even like, I have tons of videos of me teaching sales training that are listed publicly on YouTube. You can go take all those and compile them and you can sell that. Okay, this is a little trick I used to do back in the day, like when I would target different gurus' names. Like let's say it was Ty Lopez and I wanted to target Ty's audience. I would go find Ty's top 10 videos that I loved, or maybe top 11 or top 9 or just whatever it was, his videos. I put those into a ClickFunnels membership site, and I would go to his audience like, hey, you guys want to know Ty's top 10 secrets about blah? If so, opt in here. And they'd opt in there, and I'd give them a link to go create a membership site, and it was just embedded all the top 10 videos from Ty Lopez's channel on whatever topic it was, or Robert Kiyosaki's or whatever. So if I have a real estate offer, I can be like, hey, and then the third component, what I'm going to do is, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge Robert Kiyosaki fan. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was the book that changed my life. Here's the hook, right? The story. In fact, one time I tried to hire Robert Kiyosaki, but the problem, it turns out it's like $100,000 a day for him to consult you on all sorts of stuff, and like I just didn't have the money for that. So I started scouring the internet and I actually found 12 videos. Like there's tons of them out there. There's 12 that gave everything he talked about in systematic order. It was so simple and so easy. And what I did is I actually put all these together in a members area and all my notes on like what was the most important part and what it meant the most to me and how it relates back to what we're talking about. And so when you get started, I'm actually going to give you the top 10 Robert Kiyosaki videos of all time, plus my notes and the transcripts. Boom. And now I've got this thing that's been compiled. Okay, you guys getting this? Do you see how magic this is? This is so cool. Okay, like I can't go and put Tony Robbins' course in my thing, but Tony Robbins got tons of free videos that are listed on YouTube that are amazing. If I go compile those for people and put them in a playlist, like I'm just embedding the video that is in YouTube in my members area. It's not bad to do. Okay, I did number 16. I did number 17, host a weekend event. Okay, literally, if you got a topic that you're good at, throw a weekend event. So these are pictures of me. They're blurry because this is before cameras were really good. Notice I always had a shaved head, glasses, and a tie. That's how I taught things. But the very first event I ever did, I decided I actually joined Matt Fury's mastermind group, and I'm on the very first coaching call. I remember that the first person who got on, it was a weightlifting guy, and he was like, "Hey, Matt, I'm trying to build my business, and this is what I'm doing." And he kind of explained it. And Matt said, "Okay, you know what I would do if I was you?" He said, "I bet you that your list right now probably thinks the world of you, right?" He's like, "Oh yeah, they love me." He's like, "Okay, what I would do is I would actually go send an email to the list and say, hey, for $5,000, you can come to my house for a weekend, and we'll lift weights together, and I'll teach you all my stuff, show you how I eat, and it'll be awesome." And the guy's like, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna go do that." And the next I got on, the guy was like an artist, and he's like, "Matt, how should I grow my business?" And Matt's like, "Well, you know what you should do? You got an art studio, right? You should put an email out to your list and tell them for $5,000 they can come for a weekend to your art studio, and you guys can do art together." And the guy's like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And then went on. The third guy came out, had some other business. I can't remember what it was. And the guy said the whole thing, and then Matt's like, "You know what you should do? You should put on a weekend event for $5,000 and email your list, have them come to you and do the thing with you." And after like the third time, I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Like I should do that." It took me a little while to get on. And so I sent an email to my list that night. I said, "Hey, a lot of people ask how I market my businesses. I'm going to do a workshop here, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. And surprise, surprise, it's $5,000. And if you want to come, there's a PayPal link." That was my sales message. And I ended up getting 3 people to spend $5,000 on that. Now, 3 people spent $5,000, and I was like, they're going to show up and I'm going to look like an idiot because it's just 3 of them, right? So I invited all my friends, my family members, like everyone I'd ever known. I was like, "Come to this event. Everyone else paid $5,000 to be there. If you can just come and like just participate, like it'd be awesome." So they came, and I had a full room of people, and I filmed the entire thing in my very first home study course with recordings from this event. Okay, and so it works good. You don't have to go and sell it ahead of time either. Tell your friends and your family, "I'm doing a workshop this weekend on like whatever it is you do." Get them to come in and record the whole thing, and boom, now you've got the videos that can be the course. Now, I'm going to kind of spoil alert for what I'm going to talk about at the end. I want to talk about it right now. Because a lot of times people ask me, like, "Okay, I'm going to write a book first, Russel. That's the bottom of the value ladder. And then I'm going to create the audio course next, and they go slowly like that." And I'm like, no, like. It's actually backwards. Like a lot of times this is the best place to start. I can start here, I can do a weekend workshop, and I got the video course, and then from there I can get it I can rip the audio out and get the audio, and I can get it transcribed, I got the text, and now I've got like all these things that came from this one event, right? All these different components now that come really, really fast. So a lot of times I start with the back end first, and then pull components out to make the actual offer, okay? All right, hosting a weekend workshop is a fast way to get amazing product. And again, you can tie a really good hook to it. Like all my friends, my family members were asking me how I lost 30 pounds in the last 30 days, asking me how I was able to go from 0 to spot number 1 on YouTube or Google or like whatever your thing is, right? And so these are my friends, my family, people I love the most. And I thought, I'm gonna do a special thing for them. So I brought them into my home, set up a camera, and I taught them this stuff. And because of my friends, my family, I didn't hold anything back. But I did record it, and the coolest thing because of that, you're gonna have a chance to get it as one of the things, right? There's a hook, there's a story, boom, now it's an offer. All right, okay. So we went through text, audio, and video. And hopefully you guys have 1,000 ideas spinning through your heads of fast ways to create offers and bundle things and package things and repackage things, a bunch of stuff. I got a couple other cool ways that don't really fit in that hierarchy, but there are other cool ways to increase the perceived value and do really, really cool stuff with it. So I'm gonna go through those now. So idea number 18 is software. Now, we have a whole webinar. If you haven't seen softwaresecrets.com, if you want to learn how to create your own software, go over there. But software is huge. The perceived value of software is so big. My very first software product, one of my first ones was a thing called Forum Fortunes. Now, interesting about this, I did not create this software. I did not have this idea for the software. I didn't program the software. Somebody else was already selling the software. And I thought it was cool. So I went to that person. I said, "Hey, your software is awesome. Can I license this from you?" He said, "Sure, for $500, I will license it to you." So $500, he licensed it to me, rebranded it with my name, my picture, my everything, gave it to me, and I started selling it. And my very first $1,000 day actually was selling this software that I didn't even create. I just knew that it was good. I licensed it from him, paid him one time, he rebranded it, gave it to me, and I was able to start selling at that point forward. Okay, Zip Brand was my first idea. I paid a programmer in Romania $20 for that, and I paid him a $100 bonus, $120 on my first software program created. Article Spider, I saw a bunch of other people have these really, this is back in the SEO days when it was different, but all these people were selling the software for $100 and $97 to do this thing, right? And I was like, I could buy the software for $100, or I could just pay someone $100 to create the software for me. So I paid someone $100, they created the same software, then I had the same software, I didn't have to pay this guy for it, and then I had an asset now that I could start selling. I started selling that software, and yeah, that's the cool thing about software. It's really easy to model what other people have done. Unless you're trying to build ClickFunnels, good luck with that. It's really big. But simple software programs are not that hard. And so, like, instead of paying the product owner $100, I paid a programmer $100. He created the exact same thing for me. I added all the other features and benefits I wanted, and then I'd asked, and now I could go sell from that point forward. And I made a lot of money selling it afterwards. Okay. And then funnel scripts is probably one of my best ideas from this. Is funnel scripts is literally the scripts that are inside of my books. And I took those things, Jim Edwards put it in a wizard, you'd fill in the blanks, whack the button, and it pops out the scripts with your information built in, okay? It's simple, guys. There's so many ideas for software. I know someone that's in the dream interpretation market, and they found a public domain book on dream interpretation where they basically had a word, and then if you had a dream with a bird in your brain, this means this. If you had a dream about a banana, it meant this. And so they took the public domain book, they rebranded it into an actual ebook, and then turned it into a software program as well, where you could type it in, you type in banana, and it would pop out the paragraph, right? So now when they sold their offer, it went from being like a book they could sell for $15 to it's like a $47 product, because it was like, you get the book, plus you can get the software program that goes with the book. You type in the thing, it'll tell you the interpretation of your dream right there. Okay, so they went from public domain to software that fast. So again, there's a million ways you guys can do this. You got to fill in the blanks with whatever you're selling, but I want the wheels in the head spinning of like, how can I turn my book into software? How can I turn my public domain thing into software? How can I turn my interviews into software? Like, there's so many different ways to do that. You just got to kind of think outside the box. Okay, so idea number 18 is software. Idea number 19 then is recycling content with a new hook. Okay, this is gonna be telling my evil secrets. So like 2 years ago, I created, so 2 years ago, I turned the perfect webinar into a script, right? It's a one-page script with an audio or video of me explaining the script, okay? I literally used Camtasia with the picture of the script, and I explained it right there, okay? And that became a free plus shipping offer, and we've made millions of dollars with this as a front-end offer, right? People buy the CD and the piece of paper script, free plus shipping puts them in our funnel. We sell a bunch of them, right? Then the upsell is like a course where I go through the perfect webinar. So there's me teaching the perfect webinar, okay? Fast forward now, a year and a half later, I launched a book called Expert Secrets. Now, those who've read Expert Secrets, what is this about? The perfect webinar. It literally is the perfect webinar. So it's the same thing. But what's different? The hook is different. Over here is how to do a webinar. Here's how you're an expert. Here's how to sell your product, your expertise as an expert, okay? Same concept, same thing packaged in a different way, right? People spend more for it, okay? The Secrets Masterclass, those who are my 2 column Quebecs, like that was a program we initially sold for $300 a month to be part of. It was this, taught in a different way, okay? Perfect webinar. We did a FAT event, which people came for 3 days here to Boise, and we built the webinar with them. The same thing, we sold that for, I can't remember the price, I think it was $10,000 or $12,000 for that. Same content packaged different ways. We have a new offer coming out, depending when you're watching this, new offer coming out called 10X Secrets. And guess what it is? I made $3 million in 90 minutes of Grant Cardone's event. And I looked at it, I was like, that's a sexy hook. Okay? What am I selling? I'm selling me breaking down, going through the perfect webinar. It's still a perfect webinar. Okay? So I'm recycling my content with a new hook. Okay? Perfect webinar is the hook. Expert Secrets is the hook. 10X Secrets is the hook. Fat event is the hook. Okay, but I'm teaching the same, I'm sending people up the value ladder. They're getting the same thing packaged in different ways, but the hook shifts. As the hook shifts more different, it's gonna grab different people, right? Some people want they're trying to figure out a webinar, they see the perfect webinar, they're like, boom, I'm looking for a webinar, that's the hook that's gonna bring them in. A lot of people don't even know they need a webinar. I dropped the hook of like Expert Secrets, like I'm an expert, I've got tons of ideas, that hook will bring them in. 10X Secrets, how I made $3 million in 90 minutes, that hook will get a different audience and bring them in, okay? But I'm recycling the content. Yeah, and hopefully you guys notice that like there's similarities between what I teach in all different aspects. I'm just recycling the content in different ways, okay? So hopefully it gets the wheels in your head spinning as well. Recycle other people's content, okay? This is a really, really good book. In fact, this book has one of the best hooks I've ever seen. So those of you guys know Jay Abraham, marketing guru of gurus, and he's amazing, right? He he's also kind of ADD, so he's all over the place. And the story behind this book is he had one of his students went through, worked for him for 3 years, left, built his own business, made like $50 million, sold it off, and then went through Jay's stuff and said, his stuff's great, but it's all over the place. So he rebuilt it in like chronological order, packaged the book, started selling it, and started making tons of money for himself and other people. And then Jay found out about it. Jay ended up suing him for the rights to the book, got the book back, and now it's called the Mr. X book. And this book literally sells for $500 online. Okay? And so that was the hook, and they've sold tens of millions of dollars worth of copies of this book, right? So it's amazing. So I recently been talking to Jay, and I'm like, dude, that book's amazing. He's like, well, we don't really sell it anymore. What would you like to do with it? And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I would love to take that, and I want to rebrand it, and I would love to take that and weave my commentary in. So here's the Mr. X secrets that Jay Abraham taught, but how does this relate to me into funnels? So Mr. X for funnels, and then like go back through. So I'm working on a project right now with him to recycle his content, throw in my commentary, make a derivative work, and then resell that as a front-end product, probably a training course on the back end and an event and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So I'm taking somebody else's content and making a derivative work of how it ties into mine. Now I'm licensing it from him, I'm using his permission. So all these things we talked about over the last hour or so are all weaving together. But again, I'm recycling other people's content. Who else has amazing content that you love, that maybe not related to your market, or maybe it is, maybe you want to put your spin on it. Do a deal with them, license it. But a lot of times the work's already been done for you. When I do this, I don't have to write a whole new book. I just have to go through it, write my commentary, take my notes, maybe do an event on it. Who knows what this will turn into, but it's a project I'm working on right now, and it's this really cool thing to recycle other people's content as well. This is another example. So John reached out when I recycle his content. I bought Traffic Secrets, the entire company from him, and now we're selling that as a course as well. It'll become a book. We're recycling his content into my next book. .com secrets, expert secrets, traffic secrets, and that's kind of the next evolution. All right. Then 21, the last one is membership sites. Membership sites are cool because it's a container for all these things, right? You can put videos in there and audios and PDFs and things, and so it's like it becomes like a container of a whole bunch of different things you've created and these other 20 ideas and bundle them together. And the perceived value of a membership site is high. Okay, in your stack, you're like, and bonus number 3, you can access my membership site called whatever, and normally we charge $97 a month for it, but you get it for free, and inside there you can get access to blah, 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 and it becomes this really cool container where we plug in a whole bunch of these different products into an actual offer. So that's idea 21, you guys. And one last thing I want to end with, I kind of spoiled this a little earlier, but one of the easiest things to do is start with the back end first. Do the big thing, do a live event, do a workshop, and then from there pull things out. Do a huge interview series, interview 50 people, and from there you have all this raw material. You start pulling pieces out. You pull this interview out, and this piece out, and this transcript, and this part, and you start just rebuilding, remarketing, rebuilding all sorts of different products and offers based on that. And that's kind of the big thing, you guys. And those are my product secrets. Those are 21 ways to create products that you can bundle into offers really, really quickly. And I hope that helps you guys. Hope it gives you 1,001 ideas, because those 21 can be spun with so many different ways. But it should never give you a spot where I don't know what to sell. I don't know what to offer. It really comes down to like figuring out what's the sexiest hook you can dream of. Like, what is the thing that if somebody had, they would go crazy for? And then from there, you go and you find the people to be able to create it. Okay? When we create something here, we start with the sales letter. We make a sales letter saying, this is what we want to create, and we make these offers that are just as insane as possible. And then we're like, okay, how do we make that possible? How am I going to show somebody how to make $1 million in the next 12 months? Well, either I need to go interview 10 people who have already done it, or I need to find 10 people who are going to try and do it and find out what their process, what's their goal, how are they going to do it? And now I've got somebody that fulfills that promise. Okay? So I'm making the offer, making this amazing thing, and then reverse engineer to try to fulfill the promise. Okay? That makes it easy if you're doing interviews as well. Say, I have this course coming out, it's called Keto Secrets. In there, I'm giving them my best keto supplements, and then I'm giving this and this. But I have this one section of the offer where I'm actually going to be showing people the top 20 keto recipes of all time. And because you're my favorite keto guru in the world, would you mind contributing a recipe to this book? I'm like, oh, sure, here's my favorite one. Boom. Now you've got that, and now you got that piece of it just makes it so simple, because you create the offer first, and you go out and you find all the pieces to plug in to be able to actually fulfill on the offer that you are making. So I hope that helps you guys. Hope it helps you understand how products work, how you use that to create offers, how you find hooks to pull everybody into it, and hopefully it gives you all the tools you guys need to make your next offer and make a ton of money. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.